What happens when an ordinary workday turns into a life-changing moment? For Mia, a struggling single mother working the night shift at a small diner, an unexpected encounter with Clint Eastwood revealed the power of kindness and a note that left her speechless. Before we dive deeper into this heartwarming story, comment below where you're watching from today. And if you value stories about resilience and standing up for what's right, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more heartfelt narratives. The clock ticked past 7 p.m. at the Highway Diner, a modest roadside stop just outside Bakersfield, California. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the linoleum floor. To most travelers, this place was nothing more than a pit stop, a brief pause on the way to somewhere else. But for Mia, it was her entire world. At 28, Mia juggled long hours at the diner while raising her 6-year-old son, Jordan. Her days blurred into nights, each shift a delicate balance of exhaustion and determination. Rent, groceries, school supplies, every dollar stretched thin. Yet, Mia never complained. Not to her co-workers, not to the regulars who tipped an extra dollar when they could, and certainly not to Jordan, who still believed his mum could move mountains. The soft chime above the diner's door broke her focus as she wiped down the counter. She looked up, expecting another road-weary traveller. Instead, a man walked in with quiet confidence, the kind that made the air feel heavier, almost charged. He wore a simple button-up shirt, jeans, and a weathered hat pulled low. It took Mia a moment to register the face beneath the brim. Her breath caught in her throat. Clint Eastwood. The Clint Eastwood. Hollywood icon, symbol of resilience and grit. And now, inexplicably, seated in her section, flipping through a sticky menu like any other customer. Mia swallowed her nerves, grabbed her notepad, and approached the table. "Good evening, sir," she said, her voice steadier than she expected. "What can I get started for you?" Clint glanced up, piercing blue eyes meeting hers. "Coffee, black, and a burger, medium rare. No onions." Simple enough. Mia scribbled the order, her hand trembling slightly as she turned to leave. She'd served celebrities before, a singer here, an athlete there. But this felt different. Clint Eastwood wasn't just famous. He embodied the very resilience Mia clung to every single day. "Busy night?" His gravelly voice stopped her mid-step. Mia blinked, caught off guard. Most customers didn't bother with small talk. "Not too bad," she managed, forcing a smile. "Keeps me on my toes." Clint nodded, his expression softening. "You've got a good pace. Not easy to keep up in a place like this." Her cheeks flushed. Was Clint Eastwood complimenting her work ethic? She stammered a polite thank you and hurried off, heart pounding. As the evening wore on, Mia busied herself with refilling coffee cups, wiping counters and clearing plates. Yet, her gaze kept drifting toward the corner booth. Clint wasn't in a rush. He ate slowly, methodically, as though savoring each bite. Occasionally, their eyes met, and he'd nod politely, a silent acknowledgement that made her stomach flutter. By the time he finished his meal, the diner had quieted. Clint raised his hand slightly, signaling for the check. Mia wiped her hands on her apron and walked over. "Everything all right?" she asked, voice careful. "Perfect," Clint said, setting down his fork. "One of the best burgers I've had in a long time." Mia chuckled, caught off guard by the compliment. "I'll let the cook know. He'll get a kick out of that." But Clint didn't immediately reach for his wallet. Instead, he studied her for a moment, not with the cool detachment of a movie star, but with quiet curiosity. "You've got a good energy about you," he said finally. "You remind me of someone I knew a long time ago." Mia blinked, warmth rising in her chest. "Thank you," she murmured. "I just try to get through the day, like everyone else." Clint nodded slowly. "That's the trick, isn't it? Just getting through." He reached into his pocket, pulling out a few bills, more than enough to cover the meal, along with a folded piece of paper. "Keep the change," he said, standing up, "and read this when you get a moment." Mia stared at the note, heart pounding. "Thank you," she managed, unsure if he even heard her, as he walked toward the door. The bell above it jingled softly as he left, and just like that, he was gone. The rest of her shift passed in a haze. The note weighed heavily in her apron pocket, a secret waiting to unfold. Only after the last customer paid and the lights dimmed did Mia slip into the back room, pull off her apron, and unfold the paper. Her breath hitched as she read the first line. "Dear Mia, I don't know much about you, but in the short time I've been here, I've seen something rare. True resilience. Watching how you manage this place with grace, even under pressure, is a reminder of how much strength exists in the everyday heroes of this world." Mia's hands trembled. She kept reading. "You remind me of someone very dear to me. Someone who taught me the value of hard work and kindness. I don't know your story, but I can see in your eyes that you've carried more than your share of burdens. That's why I want to do something, no strings attached." Her eyes widened as a check fluttered out from the folded paper. $10,000. Her knees buckled. She sank onto the warm bench in the break room, tears streaming down her face. It wasn't just the money, though that alone was life-changing. It was the words, the recognition. Someone had seen her, her struggle, her determination, her quiet resilience. Clint Eastwood, a man she'd only known through movie screens, had noticed her in a way the world often failed to. And he'd done something about it. Later that night, long after Jordan had fallen asleep, Mia sat at her tiny kitchen table. The check lay in front of her, next to a stack of overdue bills and a list of school supplies she hadn't been able to afford. But the money, as transformative as it was, wasn't what lingered in her mind. It was the final line of Clint's note. "I hope this brings you some peace. People like you deserve to be seen, and I see you." For the first time in what felt like years, Mia allowed herself to hope, not just for survival, but for something more. A better life, a brighter future. And she vowed that one day, she'd pay that kindness forward. If this story moved you, share it with someone who might need a reminder that kindness still exists. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more powerful stories that remind us why seeing, truly seeing one another can change lives.